South Bossier Improvement Plan, Preston Conover Stadium Turf Report. Mr. Roget.
Just quick updates. We've completed that project. As of yesterday, it's substantially complete. So we are moving on to some of the other projects that we were working on the South Bossier plan. So it was good to get that large project out of the way. Just want to let y'all know that was completed. Any questions?
Questions or comments?
Just a round of applause.
I have a comment. It is beautiful. That company knows what they're doing. That is a gorgeous field. I'm jealous, but that's okay.
You have a Brotherton there.
I do have a Brotherton there. But, no, it's beautiful. They do good.
It's going to help y'all win this year.
It's guaranteed.
Every game but one.
What game is that?
When they play
Number two.
The only time we play on grass this year is in Halton.
at the only game.
Sorry for the diversion. Number two, Benton Middle School and Intermediate School traffic improvements. Mr. Roget.
Okay, this is a quick update of where we're at on that project. We took this project on in July. We would manage to get some free millings from the parish with the stipulations to try and do the best we can to get traffic off the highway. So this is a quick drawing of what we're trying to accomplish at this time. You see a Benton Middle School, Benton Intermediate dual drop-off with caution drop-off zones on each side. And then you see the Benton Intermediate School drop-off only on the Ring Road side. We're still working on details and still working on this project. But to let you know, we are moving forward. Concrete should start in the next couple of weeks on the pad, and we're still working on grading and drainage.
Any questions? Mr. Bullard?
I got a question. I guess it'd be to Captain Johnson. Is this going to require additional traffic control? And I'm looking at, we have the north-south artery, but then we have one just below it here where it says BIS only drop-off entrance. You see what I'm referring to?
Yes, we're still going to have some type of traffic control, because although we'll get all those vehicles will come off of Ben Road, the ones that queue up way back, we'll still have to be able to put those back onto the roadway.
And what I'm referring to is where they come together, where they merge. We come off Rubicon, you have two entrances, and then they come together. It's like a Y that comes, it merges, and it just, I was wondering if that was...
They actually don't merge. The Benton Middle School dual drop-off actually turns into the west to the school and turns back out and goes back to Rubicon. We're circumventing the Benton Middle with the Benton Intermediate to keep from having them all in one lane.
Thank you. That was my only concern is it might be complicating.
It still is. This is preliminary. We're trying to work it out and get it, we didn't have a plan. We just had materials and started moving forward with that.
I think we're just thankful that there will be something there.
Correct.
It'll ease some of that issue there. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Number three, Elm Grove Middle School Drainage Ditch Project. Mr. Cottom.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. This is a discussion action item. The City of Bossier City has been contacted by DOTD to improve drainage along the railroad right-of-way along 71. And so the blue area up here is a section they're needing to improve or actually add a drainage ditch, and it's sort of the northwest corner of our property. And it will be an open ditch. It will be concrete lined. And the city is just requesting our assistance in getting a drainage servitude to them. So that's, and you can go to the next slide. Stuart.
One question.
Yes,
Mr. Bullard?
Since you're going to be severing the street at that point, is that going to interfere with their football?
So this originally was supposed to be awarded, I think, over the summer, and thought was they were going to take about a month to add under the street, tear up the street, put a new culvert, lay back down.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be starting, I guess this fall. We'll have to coordinate with the city. Maybe we can find a good time, because it will block that along Parkway Drive.
Just as long as it doesn't complicate our bus situation.
Yes, sir.
Make an already, sometimes, would you say, Mr. Bamberg, a near chaotic traffic situation, just make it worse. We certainly wouldn't want to
Good thing
do
is
that.
there's a lot of walkers come from there, so most of the bus traffic comes up
Right.
Parkway. So.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So, well, back in the spring, I did email Mr. Haddon, Captain Johnson about this, and we were hoping it was supposed to be during the summer, but I guess there's been just some delays on the city's part, so.
Yes.
So from my historical knowledge, if you're going to block off an egress to the middle school or the stadium, that is probably the least impactful. When you agree, Mr. Bamberg? I mean, you still got Van Diemen that comes in the back way from Shady Grove, and then Sun City, and then obviously the railroad track, which is crossover, which is south of that. So that's Oriole Street that runs behind the stadium. And like Mr. Bamberg said, most of those are walkers, but it will have some impact, but I think it'll be minimal. But they gave you a time frame when they would like to start?
No, sir, not yet. I'll have to get with the city and ask when their plans releasing this. We're trying to get the land worked out between us and the city for the surface.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to find out.
If it has to be this fall, it'd be nice if they could coordinate and try to do it either over the fall break days or either the Thanksgiving days.
They do have more work, which I only showed our part. There is more work to the west of Panther Drive. Can you go to the next slide, sir? So the little gray hatched area is actually what's being requested. It's basically 30 feet by, at the widest, 119 feet. So it's really not usable land for us, so I don't see any problem with it.
This is an action item. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. And we're just actually going to deed in this property to do this project?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Mr. Bamberg, a second by Ms. Brotherton. Please vote by show of hands. Unanimous. Number 4, Newman Mason Field at Tiger Stadium scoreboard replacement report. Mr. Cottom.
Yes, ma'am. This is just an update that we have worked with a company called Daktronics. They did the airline's scoreboard. We have reviewed and approved their quote to put a basically 17-foot by 30-foot wide live video display. The price is right under $244,000, and it does include a 5-year service plan, which includes on-site service and warranty for 5 years. And right now, the delivery expected date is around March of 2023. Their install time, without any delays, is about 2-week time period.
Enjoy it next year.
Yes, ma'am.
Any comments? Questions? Okay, number 5, Eastwood Drainage Project.
Mr. Thompson, can you go to the next slide? Okay, this was a project y'all were all probably familiar with, because when I came in, it was sort of already kind of in the works. This is the east side of TL Roads and Platt. The upper picture in the upper left kind of shows the retention ditch that was added. There was some underground culverting. This does extend further south, and this was a project we did with the Bossier Parish Police Jury So it's been completed this past week. The lower right picture is a new fence that we added, about 400 linear feet of fence that separates the playground from this ditch area. And they are sodding the ditch area, it's just not shown in the pictures. And that's all for that.
Any questions or comments? Okay, Mr. Bachhaus.
I appreciate you doing all this. You don't know how happy those parents and citizens are going to be right there. And in case the committee's not familiar, the water's going to drain away from where this picture is towards Forest Hills.
Yes, sir.
And then drain to the left into a retention pond down there also. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. Thank you very much, Jason. I know you inherited that.
Any other comments? Number 6, Halton High Paving and Drainage Improvements, Phase 2, and land acquisition. Mr. Cottom.
So this is just a really, really quick statement. Just to let the board know that, the committee know that we are still actively engaging a few properties in the Halton area with consideration and review to purchase. So that is still an active endeavor. And we'll have further information when we get closer.
Okay,
So.
questions? Number 7, Halton High School Classroom Administrative Additions Update. Mr. Cottom.
Okay. Stuart, can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so we did have a progress meeting today. We were updated today with the current schedule that substantial completion has now been moved to December 20th of this year. So previously was November 4th, now it's December 20th. So the project is about 78% complete. They've used about 104% of their construction time. Just here in the past few weeks, the contractor had issued 8 change order requests totaling 170 days. He was claiming to correct design errors. So us and the architect and program manager reviewed everything, and the architect formally rejected all 8 change orders. We just felt they were just not on a critical path, and according to the contract documents, and that they just didn't need to be awarded. So, in the pictures here, you'll see, this is the south side, the main picture. They will be starting brick on this area here exposed and on the north side. And they have also started on fixing some of the interior CMU repair work. The second floor has been corrected. It's ready for our architect to review the work. And we'll make some decisions at the time if there's additional work on the second floor. So as far as the sheetrock, most of the classrooms, the sheetrock has started. They're actually priming and starting to paint. The storm drain along the south side of the building, all the drainage is put in. They're actually working around the north side now. So Stuart, can you go to the next slide, please? So this is some interior pictures of the administration wing. As you can see, the ceiling grid is in. They've got lights. They're painting. They've painted door frames. So the admin wing is moving along a little bit at a faster pace than the classroom wing. So let's see if I have anything else here. That's kind of all, Ms. Smith. If anybody has any questions on this project?
Ms. Bretherton?
Mr. Cottom, is Mr. Angel coming to these meetings now?
No, ma'am. He's generally required to come to the monthly, which is the monthly progress, which is held at kind of the first month meeting. He did not come. This was after we had issued the rejection for all the change orders. So I don't know if it was out of just not wanting to see us or deal with us. So.
What about the supervisor? Is it still the same supervisor, or have we changed again?
So this Friday will be the current superintendent's last day. He has put his 2 weeks in. He's moving on to another venture down in Texas. So Don't know full reasons why, but that's where we are. They have not named a new superintendent. They'll be required to soon, after Friday. So we'll see who that is. We're hoping it's one of the other project managers that have been on site working this past year with the current superintendent.
So does that company, I'm just asking, does that company, Mr. Angel, put in the new one? Is it someone he wants, or is it someone that
He assigns it.
he
yes, ma'am.
assigns the person? I know that last time he put the supervisor on another job, and it kind of like just at a standstill.
Yes, ma'am, there were two. He was kind of the project manager. He did get pulled off and assigned to some other projects. So that's who's currently, he's been at the meetings, the past couple of meetings. We get along with him. Actually, both the superintendents we've had good
Yeah, I heard he
success
has a
with.
good
So
job. Hate to see him leave.
Mr. Buller?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Cottom, two things. Number one, there has been not a major, excuse me, a major item, but a persistent thorn in the side. It's sort of like a little open wound that keeps getting a little salt thrown on it. Dealing with a sidewalk and a cover. And has that ever been completed? I know it's minor compared to the big picture, but there seemed to have been a lot of frustration with the fact the contractor couldn't seem to get that little minor repair done.
right. So two parts to that. The canopy structure is complete. We completed a connector section that completed the existing canopy and this new canopy. So the structure itself is complete. There's some lighting that's got to be put in. Now the concrete drain is the other one. It's a slot drain that runs the entire length. There's some issues there. It's been rejected twice. The contractor had attempted a repair detail that we reviewed maybe within the past 2 weeks that was not acceptable, so we've rejected that. We have spoken with our legal counsel on the next steps, and we will most likely be issuing a letter, and then after that time frame, we'll be taking over the project, or that part of it.
And I know that has been a source of great frustration to Mr. Bachhaus and Ms. Brotherton. I think y'all have fielded many a call from parents and certainly faculty and staff. So, number two, the contractor has exceeded his time frame
Yes, sir.
within which to complete the construction. Is he not now in
Liquidation.
penalty phase? And when will, since his request for additional days have been rejected, at what point do you initiate assessment of these penalties?
So the liquidated damages started on July 14th this year. We did discuss with legal counsel Friday on some next steps with that. With all due respect, I recommend, if we want to further discuss that, we do that in executive session.
But everybody is aware of it, and we're on top of it.
Yes, sir, very much. We've had a meeting.
I mean, it's not like this is a surprise.
Right.
This thing's been percolating for months now.
Right, yes, sir.
Thank you for your attention and time on trying to keep this boat floating, you and Mr. Rowland both, and certainly Mr. Downing. But I know y'all are there, sort of his point men on it, so thank you. I
Mr. Buckhouse?
Along with, for Mr. Bullard, I can tell you that I stay in touch with Jason quite often, and with Coach Haney. And anytime I have a question, they are on top of it. And so a lot of information will be discussed in executive session eventually. But they, I can tell you from experience, they're on top of it the best they can be. And I appreciate that.
Mr. Cottom, as far as things that have been, I guess, addressed and needing to be redone, are those satisfactory at this time that
Yes, ma'am.
when this superintendent took over or supervisor?
Yes, ma'am. We kind of feel the past 6 months when the new superintendent stuff came on, there was a lot of just repair work, a lot of going backwards, slowly moving forward. So they have fixed a lot of the errors. The next major one is the first floor classroom CMU repairs. A lot of those stuff has been corrected. The brick ledge elevations, grade beams missing, second floor CMU, you name it. There's just a list. So we feel confident that stuff's getting done. It's just we believe just the project was just so far behind already, and then having to do all these repairs.
And this December 20th date, that is a date that Mr. Angel has set based on the number of days, or?
Yes, ma'am. The current schedule, at the meeting today, that we did not have the schedule. It was just told to us that that's the current. Last month, it was moved to November 4th. This month, it was moved to December 20th. So, yes, sir. So in the past 2 months, we've lost 2.5 months.
And it was supposed to be finished in March of
Yes, ma'am. That's what the original,
Yeah.
they did have till July 13th, I think, so.
Any other questions or comments?
Could I just, Mr. Haney's here. David, do you have anything you want to say or anything else you know that you can inform us about? I know you said the lighting. You told me the lighting's in.
Yeah, the lighting on the campus.
Drainage.
It's got a lot of beginning of the year. Our drive to police back to us. Parking the premium out there, and we have to give up parking because of it. Everything seems to be delayed.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever been time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right. So the circle drive Mr. Hayes referring to is the contractor had a little bit of delay in getting it poured. They did pour a little bit higher strength concrete, so when it reached hopefully about 14 days, it should be acceptable to drive on. So they were trying to, today they said they would have some information back from the testing lab. That's who they're going to break the cylinders to make sure. So then once that gets, they'll be able to have the horseshoe back.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate all of you that are working and staying on top of this. It's frustrating for us. I know it's very frustrating for you. And I know Mr. Haney is looking forward to the day when he can get this all behind him, hopefully soon. But thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Mr. Cotton?
That's all I have, Ms. Ben.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Meeting is adjourned.